WNST, Towson, Baltimore, and Baltimore Positive. I am out on the road. I'm without my Baltimore Positive logo on the road, doing the Maryland Crab Cake Tour. We've left Baltimore for a little while, but golf is still alive back in Baltimore. Our Maryland Crab Cake Tour is brought to you by our friends at the Maryland Lottery in conjunction with Window Nation, Goodwill, and our friends at the Restaurant Association of Maryland. Will be at LP Steamers on Thursday doing the Maryland Crab Cake Tour back in Baltimore. This guy's in Baltimore. He's at the golf course closest to home for me, Pine Ridge, nearest to WNST, and up in the county. I'm going to say the North County at this point, but I had a chance to go out and see new technology, and so much is changing for folks who golf. If you haven't been out and played lately, haven't been to Pine Ridge, you certainly have a simulation device out on the driving range. It can make an afternoon of fun. Dave Hutsell joins us now from Pine Ridge and from Classic 5 Golf. What's going on? Are you hitting it straight, or are you too busy teaching people to get out there and do it yourself for a little bit?
Well, I've been teaching more than playing, but the game feels pretty good this time of year, and looking forward to our Mid-Atlantic PGA schedule in the fall. Yeah, we're enjoying the warm Baltimore weather and enjoying some top tracer at Pine Ridge Driving Range.
Well, I'll tell you what, I've been traveling around. I spent the evening at Rocky Gap the other day. I'm no stranger to golf carts and golf courses and seeing how beautiful the rolling hills are. I've been driving off of 68 in Western Maryland. Just the grass is beautiful. It feels like it's rained enough. I mean, courses must be in pretty decent shape right now, right?
Yeah, they are. It's been a good season. We had a great spring. Courses were really good shape. We've got summer heat. That's the hardest part of the year for us, I believe. Just the 95-degree days, thunderstorms. We got hit by some storms recently and just finished up some tree work. So all in all, we're doing really well this time of year.
Look, I came up to Pine Ridge and I saw the latest technology, right? Like I remember going into Della Rose's over on the Avenue in White Marsh, everybody playing that Golden Tee golf game, video
Hmm.
golf and all of that. This is that, but not that at all. And I want you to re-explain it because we did talk about it a couple months ago. I'm assuming lots of folks are using it now. When you introduced it, it was free in the beginning, and then people can pay and be a part of this. But honest to God, I kind of saw it as a date night type of thing or a competition type of thing that if you didn't want to go out, this would be a fun way to do it. But more than that, a real way to improve your game if you're playing along at Pine Ridge.
Yeah, it can be used so many different ways, and like you said, it's the important thing is it's going to be fun. You don't have to be an experienced golfer to use it. Everyone's familiar with some of the top golf locations, but we've got a little different situation at our place that you don't get at some of the other indoor locations. It's great to be able to see all the numbers, understand what your ball is doing after you hit it, and then better diagnose what you did to make the ball do that. But there's a lot of different games you can play. You can bring a friend or two or three, you can play golf courses, or just get in a nice serious practice session. Or if you just want to go out there and see how far you can hit it, it's going to tell you exactly how far it goes.
How much can people expect to pay if they're going to come in and do this and play 18 at the range, get the video monitor? I would think the first thing, and just from being there, and I'm teched up and whatnot, but just figuring out how to use it and what you're trying to do with the technology, whether it's a practice round to your point to say, I'm trying to work on a shot, work on a club, work on whatever you're working on, or just go out and legitimately just play, have a competition where you don't go out on the course and walk it.
Yeah, so basically you pay by time, and the balls are included if you don't have a range card. Those who have a range card with us, which is a bonus program that's very popular, it's $20 for a half an hour, and you get a bucket of balls with it. And like I said, you can do golf courses, you can do a practice session, you can play long drive contest. One of my favorite things is just a little closest to the pin contest. You can play the seventh hole at Pebble Beach, 82 yards, and just hit some shots to the target out there, see how close you can get it. And, you never know, you might make a hole in one.
Well, you've been on some of these real courses on the real tour and doing real stuff. So, I think if you're never going to walk at a Pebble Beach and see it and feel it, this is as close as it's going to get. That's not, watching a tournament some other time where you get to play, you get to participate.
Yeah, we've got 18 golf courses to choose from. There's Pinehurst, there's the Ocean Course at Kiowa. You can play the Belfry in England, where they played the Ryder Cup before. there's so many to choose from. You can mix it up. Play one day. You can mix up golf courses in one session. If you want to spend an hour or two, you can do that. Just making your practice more fun, more enjoyable, and more effective all at the same time.
We send everybody out to Classic 5 Golf. Dave Hutsell's here from Classic 5 and from up at Pine Ridge, but you can go out to Mount Pleasant. You can go anywhere in the Big Five around the area, keeping it local. I'm out on the road. We'll be getting back. I'll be at LP Steamers later on this week. So golf, man, I got to talk to you because you were a guy out with a card, playing, doing your thing. Give me the last year of not the politics or even the Saudi Arabia or the dirty money or Khashoggi or any of that, just the decision that has to be made for these players to make money, to feed their families, and that this alternate thing is out there. I don't know that we could have talked about this 2, 3, 5 years ago to think that this would be here. I think maybe people thought the PGA would have a competitor at some point. Certainly the NFL during all the time. I've been 31 years of broadcasting. Every year there's an XFL, a USFL. They're doing it again, spring ball. Golf has been one entity as long as there's been. It's where you wanted to play. That's changing right now, and I don't know if it's going to stick. I don't know if it's going to work, but it's a lot of money, and the money does speak to luring players, and it's been kind of ugly. I don't think there's any doubt about that. This hasn't been a pretty thing for golf this summer.
No, I think as much as I've watched about it, there's definitely been some feelings hurt. I've watched a lot of interviews with players, some of the executives, and just recently with Davis Love. These guys it's a brotherhood out there. It really is. The guys really get to know each other and know each other's families. They travel together. And now you've got this group that has decided, hey, I'm gonna chase the money. And depending on where you are in your career, you can't necessarily blame them for that. It's a lot of money when you're talking 50, 100, 150 million for some players. They're in the later stages of their career, and the earning potential is not quite there like it was earlier on in their career. Who can blame them for doing that? But the challenging part is now it's going to court, and it's going to play out in front of everyone to see whether these players are going to have the ability to come back to the PGA Tour. Most of them kind of use the I don't want to say excuse, but the rationale that I don't want to play as much golf anymore. I want to spend more time with my family. And now they've kind of changed their tune, saying, well, we want to come back and play more golf other than the 14 live events. So some see it as kind of cherry picking, saying, hey, I want to come back to the PGA Tour and play X number of events. But the PGA Tour, requires 15 events a year. And if you have to play 14, which the LIV Tour requires, and then another 15 with the PGA Tour, now you're playing 29 weeks. And most of those guys never played that many weeks before. So it's going to be an interesting next year or so to see how this plays out in court.
Well, speak for the PGA side of this, because you played here for a long, long time, that there would not be a competitor. That it would have to be dirty Saudi money. I don't know that any consortium could put something together to put this kind of money into play, to be offering Tiger Woods that kind of money to come and be a part of this. I mean, the only thing I compare it to for me would be like MLS soccer when it tried to bring Beckham over and trying to lure players, whether it's dirty money or war money or political, whatever that is, it's money. And where does the money come from? Well, the money has to be based in a business, and it has to make sense. I don't know that the LIV structure makes any sense other than as a political ploy for them, right? Because I don't know that there's any other group in the world that would have put together money and said, we're going to go compete with the PGA. Why don't we just give our money to the PGA and get the best? Because if you wanted to sponsor the PGA and you were a watch company or a airline or anyone that would sponsor the PGA, the sponsorship part of this as a financial endeavor, the LIV thing never would have gotten off the ground in any other normal way. Kind of the way I laugh at Vince McMahon when he wants to start a football league, compete with the NFL. I'm like, you don't have enough money for that. You don't have you're not going to be able to pull it off. This feels like they've at least pulled off the whatever the trick of getting the attention of all of this, but it's taken hundreds of millions of dollars. It never would have come to light in any other way had this not been a government.
Yeah, I mean, I think the number was somewhere around $2 billion that they're spending to get this thing off the ground. And you look at one, they don't have a network to televise the events. They're on YouTube, so the viewership really, I don't believe, is there yet. And the PGA Tour has those type of sponsors. You look at FedEx. FedEx sponsors a FedEx Cup, and it's $15 million to the winner. Not to mention all the millions that get trickled down to everyone that makes it to the top 125. So it's a ton of money, but it's not $2 billion. So that level of funding is unheard of in the sports world, I guess. Because
Well, it's not
you think
natural. I guess that's my
right.
point. No businessman would get together and say, "Yeah, let's go compete with the PGA. We'll make money. But you put your billion and I'll put my billion in. We'll go put them out of business." It's why no one does this. It's why there's never
Right.
been a competitor to this, right?
Right. I don't. Greg Norman. Some say it's a vendetta of his. He had this idea years and years ago to do something like this with a world tour. And if you think about the PGA Tour, I mean, they've partnered even a little bit more so with the European, now called DP World Tour. They're in solidarity against this whole live operation, and the PGA Tour does a lot more than just the PGA Tour. They have the Corn Ferry Tour, the Canadian Tour, the Mackenzie Tour, it was called. They had the PGA Tour Latino America. So they're around the world, trying to produce the best players in the world, so to speak. I mean, there are other mini tours, some of which I played on, in my younger years, and there just wasn't a lot of money there. And guys struggled, but that was their only opportunity to get reps in and try to prepare to go to Q school and make the PGA Tour, because that was the ultimate goal. Now there's something else out there, but and it's interesting that they've targeted some of these college players, the guys that just recently won the U.S. Amateur, and those guys are getting money thrown at them that they probably never expected this early on in their career, but they're going to chase it for whatever reason, whatever their belief is. And it's interesting because there's so few players. Also, it's a very limited field. Some players have already gotten bumped, so to speak, because Henrik Stenson decided he's going to join. Paul Casey decided he's going to join. Weeks into the process. So what happens to those guys and where they're going to go from there? Who knows? They could be in a difficult situation with nowhere to go. I mean, they say China is one of the options to play over there, or the Asian tour. But you're an American citizen. Do you want to spend that many weeks over there? It's not going to be an easy thing to do.
Will the money be more over there in that way in China?
Uh, no, I don't believe so.
Yeah,
The
I didn't think
the
it would
Asian
be
tour,
either. I mean,
no.
if I'm still a 19-year-old kid and this is all I know, and you're my dad or you're my coach or you're that you'd say, if you go strike some gold here in 5 minutes like Mickelson did, but where's that thing going to be 5 years from now? Who's going to be watching that? How's that going to blend in? If you are a kid, I would think you would be giving very sage advice to people about. But you might not want to mess with the PGA if you're an American citizen and you're here. It's probably not the best way for you to go if you're young, because 10 years from now the PGA is still going to be here. Who knows who's going to be running the Saudi Arabian government?
True, true. And they could pull the plug on this thing at any point. And where do you go from there? And I think Phil Mickelson has gotten a lot of attention from this, as many others have, but I think you can see how it's affected him. His image, his endorsements, and all these guys have lost endorsements by going there.
Well,
But
I'm a journalist. I don't love murdered journalists. You know what I'm saying?
yeah,
So
yeah,
I have a real hard time with it. I really do. And I think the politics of it is obvious, but then there's the golf part of it that you spent your whole life trying to get a card and be a part of this. I would think that there'd be enough people to come to the defense of the PGA to some degree to say this is the team you want to be on. This is the club you want to be on. And there's plenty of money to be made in the PGA if you win, if you're good enough. And certainly a lot of exposure, right? There's more exposure for golf and for as you mentioned for the PGA here than there's ever going to be for that. That is just a money play, right? If you're there is no pot of gold there other than the here and now money. I don't think they offer anything else, do they? Really?
No, well, that's what's so different about golf compared to other sports is there's no guaranteed money. If you're good enough, you're going to get some endorsement money, of course, and it could be in the millions per year from club manufacturers to, whatever logo you're wearing on your shirt. There's companies out there they're going to put money out because they know it's going to pay dividends because that player is going to be on TV every weekend when the ratings are high. But Live Golf, there is guaranteed money. They're getting paid up front to go to this tour, and then they have large purses, $25 million per week. They have this team competition that they've started that's different. Some guys, find it intriguing, and it can be lucrative. I mean, some of these guys that are over there, Pat Perez, I think they said he made a couple $1 million, in his first few weeks there, and he didn't even contribute to the team. He was just part of that 4-man team. So he shot his 70 whatever, and they didn't even use his scores. But he's on the team with Dustin Johnson and Patrick Reed and someone else, and their team wins the team competition for the week. None of those players won the tournament, but they all played well enough that their team score, they each won like $750,000 each. So it's
Free
crazy
money
money, but
doesn't exist in golf, right? Like literally, there's no such thing as free money until now.
not until now. Exactly. It's changed. It's changed the dynamics for sure.
Dave Hutsell's our pal. He's at Pine Ridge, getting you ready for Top Tracer, get you ready. Make a case to get some people out here. It's August time. If you get a hold of somebody like me, former athlete, maybe can hold the stick a little bit and improve in a game. I know that's really where your life is right now, taking young people and showing them how to do this and seeing that look in their eye when they hit it solid or they sink a putt, right?
Yeah, absolutely. We have lots of programs at Pine Ridge and our other Classic Five courses. You can check out our website, classic5golf.com or baltimore golf academy.com. We've got programs for all players, all skill levels, all ages. Just get out and have some fun with it. Learn the game. It's a social game. You're outdoors. It's safe. It's fun. We welcome new people to the game all the time, and we're trying to bring them in, keep them there, and just make it an enjoyable experience. It's a great family experience too.
Hey man, this time last year we're getting ready for BMW, right? I was out on the crab cake tours the
Yeah.
last week of August, and we had that was a little wistful for a year back, but I thought to myself when I walked through, I thought this would be nice to have every year, every couple of years to have something like this here. It really was kind of an awakening for golf for the region and certainly for Baltimore. It was a real pride point, an incredible tournament. We look back a year ago and say, hey, how do we get more of that? And I know that thing was 15 years in the making, right? It's not that easy.
Yeah, they don't happen overnight, that's for sure. I mean, that's one of the neat things about the tour that I lived in Hilton Head for a few years back in the mid '90s, and they had a tournament every year the week after the Masters. So it's something you planned for. It was on the calendar, and
Like the
everybody
Preakness is,
embraced it.
right? Literally. Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah.
An annual event, and it doesn't really move around, so you know what to expect. And getting a good field, and obviously we had a great field at Caves Valley for the BMW. It's the playoffs, so that was very special. I mean, Atlanta Athletic Club has been the host of the Tour Championship final event of the playoffs for I don't know how many years now, quite a few. But now that they move around the playoffs, the first two events, and we were fortunate enough because we have a great market here in Baltimore and a great golf course at Caves Valley. So hopefully, whether it's Caves Valley or one of the other great clubs we have around here in the Baltimore area, hopefully we can get it back again sometime soon.
Yeah, I mean, all that fun they're having at Congressional down there, Potomac. Move it up to Baltimore, have some fun up here. Dave Hutsell's here. You can find him at Pine Ridge and anywhere of the Classic Fives. We'll check in with Ed. We'll check in with all the rest of the guys here as the summer winds up. Dave, at some point we got to get you out for a crab cake and a ice cold beverage. I've been going to all these breweries all over the state. I knew there was golf everywhere because you see the golf courses. These breweries are hiding behind the golf courses out here in Western Maryland. So we're having a good time. Hope you get you out for a crab cake before it's all over with, pal.
Would love to. That sounds great to me.
He was out on that tour. We'll try to get him on our tour from the PGA to the Crab Cake Tour. It's all presented by the Maryland Lottery. As long as we can make it through the 31st of the month, we got great guests coming on. We're going to be at LP Steamers later on this week. We're going to be at Rock Salt in Westminster later on in the month, and we're going to be in Eldersburg 2 weeks from Wednesday at Liberatories as well. All of it brought to you by Window Nation, our friends at Goodwill, and the Restaurant Association of Maryland. They got Restaurant Week coming up September 16th to the 25th of next month. I'll be telling you about that all month long. Luke is at the ballpark all week. Luke is in Owings Mills. We're still doing sports better than anyone. I am Nestor. We are WNST, AM 1570, Towson, Baltimore, and we never stop talking. A little golf, a little Classic 5, and a lot of BaltimorePositive.com.